Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Vignan Technologies. So let's understand how do we create local repository in the session. So I have given 5 steps over here. Step 1 is to create the database. Step 2 is to create the user and the map the user with the database. Step 3, create the local repository using the repository manager, configuring the repository with the job server. And the final step is configuring the repository in the central management console. So total I have given the 5 steps over here. So if you look at the step 1, step 2, so these step 1, step 2 have to be followed if at all we are using SQL Server as a backend database. So if you are using a Oracle or the HANA database, so you don't have to follow these steps. So you just create the user, so it will create the schema or the database automatically in the Oracle or HANA database. So the first 2 steps purely depends on the backend database that we are trying to use. Okay, so let's get back to the remote desktop to perform these activities. Now into the remote desktop here. So let me just create the database here. So this is pretty simple. So creation of the database is as good as creation of a folder. I would say I would say a vgnan underscore db. So this is a database name that I give, and then I'll have to create the user. So to create the user, go to the security and just go to the logins here. Just create a user here, a user called Vignan, and give the admin rights to the user. So I'm just giving some admin rights so that the tables would get created in the background. So I'm trying to map the user with the database here. So I'll have to map the user Vignan with the database called Vignan underscore db. So let's scroll down to find out our database here. So we have listed down so many databases, but you should be mapping the user with the database called Vignan underscore db. So if you just scroll up a bit here, so you can find the Vignan underscore db here. So this is the database. So it is giving some error here. I haven't given the password here. I'll have to specify the password. So you'll have to choose the SQL Server authentication here. So let's give the password here. So let's click on OK. So your database is created here. So now let's move on to the repository manager. Repository manager to create a repository here. So you'll be able to find the repository manager over here. So I'm just trying to run as an administrator so that I'll have the complete rights on this particular tool. Select the repository type as a local here. Choose the database as Microsoft SQL Server, and the server name you should always be giving this particular server EHBBO4. Okay, so in different scenarios the server name would be a different. So I'm just giving the database name here and the username I'm just specifying here. So our username is Vignan. I'm just entering the password here. Just click on create. So this would create the database. This would create the local repository for us successfully. So this has created the local repository successfully. So next step is to configure local repository with the server manager. So here there are 2 ways to configure this with the server manager. So if you look at the server manager tool here, so you got a lot of job servers here. So you can link your local repository with the existing job server, or you can link your local repository with the new job server. So first I'll show you how do we create the new job server over here. So let's click on the configuration editor, click on add here, just specify the job server name here. I would just say a job server name as JS underscore Vignan. Click on add here. Just choose this database type as a Microsoft SQL Server because our database is present in the Microsoft SQL Server here. So just specify the database name over here and database name here, and here it should be a username, and let's specify the password. click on apply. So this, you see here it is throwing an error. So the job server port should always be unique. So meaning, so if this particular port has been used by any other job server, we should not reuse this particular port. We should always use a unique job server port. I'm just saying, 3548 is a job server port here. Let's see if this has been used by any other servers or not. So it hasn't been used by any other servers. So this should be fine here. So now click on OK, and so this is a pop-up here, so you can just close this one and close and restart. So the job server will be restarted over here. And go to the management console and go to the start page here, and you can go to the SAP BI intelligence folder here, business intelligence folder here. You can find out the management console over here. So business, SAP business objects BI platform management console. Just click on this one. So this is a web-based application. So you can just log into this one. Click on log on. So go to the SAP Data Services tab here. Just right click on configure repository. Just specify Vignan underscore repo. So this is a user defined repository. So you can just choose any repository name here. And I'll have to specify the server name. And I'm just giving the database name. So I'm entering the username and password, trying to test the connection here. So it has been successfully connected to the repository. Just don't forget to save this one, otherwise your repository details will not get saved over here. So now let's log into the designer here. So I'll just choose run as an administrator. So let's enter the username as best, and I'm entering the password over here. So now we should be able to see our local repository, which is Vignan underscore repo. If we just scroll down here, we should be able to see our repository here, Vignan underscore repository here. So you are trying to log into this particular repository here. So this is the local repository. This is a brand new repository wherein you don't see any objects over here. Okay, if you look at the right hand side corner here, it shows the job server name here. So it means that this particular local repository has been successfully configured with a job server called js underscore weekend, which is running on the server EHP B04 on the port 3548. So this is how the repository will be created. So thanks for watching this session. So please continue to watch the rest of the session.